I'm Susan Brattberg. I'm co-founder and chief customer officer at Global eTraining.
When you're talking to people who need this training, do you know what the impact on their company is when if they're not keeping up to speed, and their team don't have the digital skills, they don't know how to use the tools?
It's compounding and becoming more of a crisis. So they're actually coining it the digital skills gap crisis, but it really and truly is the number one priority for CIOs across all industries globally is this digital skills gap crisis and upskilling. AI is just flipping all industries around, so we're leading in AI, and I think it's really helped us be an industry leader and in the whole edutech space, e-learning space, but we're really focused in this architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing space, which sets us apart. A lot of companies that started coming down this path have actually dropped out of the game. It's too niche for them. We're kind of the last man standing.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Bricks Bytes podcast, where we dive into construction and AEC technology. Before we get started though, if you're a startup founder or operator responsible for innovation in your company, or you want a deeper, more insightful look into technology in AEC, you won't want to miss our newsletter. From deep dives into particular technologies such as AI, robotics, design, software, and so on. Hot takes from investors betting big in AEC technology, and advice on building tech companies, including the stories and takeaways of the most successful AEC technology founders. Head over to www.bricks-bytes.com and sign up today to get this exclusive material straight to your inbox. And now for the episode. In construction, precision matters. Every budget line, every schedule, every document. But too often, project data is scattered across tools and departments, creating risky silos. That's where Autodesk comes in. Autodesk is the all-in-one construction management platform designed to connect your entire project operation, from opportunity through to tender, all the way to handover. With real-time dashboards, cost control, scheduling, procurement, and document management in one place, Autodesk gives you complete visibility and control. Trusted by contractors, subcontractors, and asset owners worldwide, Autodesk has powered landmark projects from shopping centers to Europe's tallest buildings. If you're ready to reduce risk, protect your margins, and deliver projects with confidence, discover Autodesk today. Visit archdesk.com, that's ARCH desk.com, and see how leading firms are building smarter with Autodesk. Major construction projects are complex, and delivery leaders know that things rarely go to plan. The problem is that most teams don't see what's slipping or why until it's too late. The best construction leaders know that in order to deliver on schedule, everyone needs to be planning together, committing to targets, and tracking performance every day. By bringing look-aheads, weekly work plans, visual staging diagrams, and daily activity briefings into one multiplayer platform, AFEX gives the world's leading projects a single place to plan and coordinate their work. Join the largest contractors across Europe, the UK, Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Learn more at afex.co. That's APHEX.co.
Okay, Susan, thank you so much. I'm finally glad that we have got to do this. And I think it's right that people find out, or at least learn about how I found out about you following a very fun experience. How does that sound?
It sounds awesome.
Okay, so first and foremost, the place was Nashville, and we are at Autodesk University. And I was at dinner with some friends, and we were thinking about what do we do this evening? Because Nashville, I don't know if this is the normal Autodesk University. I've never been to one apart from this one this year. But there was a lot of after parties at the events and things happening. And I was at dinner with these two folks, and we were discussing what we should do in the evening. And one of them said, "Oh, I have this ticket to this global e-training event." And I was like, "Oh, they're the people with all the green, like they get this like crazy green color. It's all around Autodesk. You can't miss it when you're there. The booth and all your staff are in like green attire, and it's like basically if you were there, you would have seen your booth and your team there." And I was like, oh, "Okay, that sounds good." Yeah. And then someone messaged me, texted me, it was like, "Hey, Owen, here's a QR code to come to this event later, or like a card with the event details on it. It's like, come. And I was like, okay, cool. Anyway, we was like, let's all go. So all three of us, we walked up to the event in this roof garden. I don't think we could find it for a little while. It was right by, what's that restaurant? Like Hattie B Chicken or something like
Yeah,
that, where there was
yeah,
a huge queue, people
yep.
outside. And anyway, we eventually found it, and we went up, and the guy on the door was like, "Oh no!" Like he didn't say no, but he was like, "Are you on the list?" I was like, "No." I've been told I can come to this, and he was searching and searching, and he was like, "Oh, just write your name down, and then you go." And then I went in, and
Good.
then
I'm
I wrote
glad
my
they let
name.
you in.
I'm glad I did too. Well, this would never have happened. And so I walked in, and then like, was it you singing on stage?
No, I didn't do the singing. I did the dancing part.
Okay, okay. I wasn't sure. My memory couldn't serve me right. And obviously, I was not
Yeah,
too familiar with who you were till after that. So I was trying to remember
yeah,
last night when I was thinking about this, whether it was you, but it wasn't. Anyway, and there was all these people with global e-training, his happy hour bar, and 2 free drinks, thanks, by the way, and all this
yeah.
fun stuff going on. And then there's this music playing, and it was as I learned through watching the band on stage, that you had produced this song as global e-training, and it had some really catchy lyric. Maybe we can, well, you can sing it for us if you want, or we can try and find the video and put it in the notes of the show.
Sure.
And it was like super catchy, and then I was just standing there thinking, damn, there's like, I don't know, there must have been 200-300 people there on this rooftop watching this band play, and then there was line dancing and all this crazy stuff, and I was like, wow, these guys know how to market. And I was just like in awe of what you had done. And I think it was the first thing I opened with when we done the little follow-up call following that event. So yeah, glad we're here. And thank you for agreeing to come on. And maybe we'll hear a little bit more about the experience in Nashville.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find the lyrics and play it for you later, but we can do that another time. It's Get Smart Training, Right Out to Your World, and it's a parody of Shania Twain. So we brought a little Canadian country to Nashville. So we call where we're from in the Calgary Stampede, we call it Nashville North. So we brought some Nashville North to Nashville with our Canadian country music star Shania Twain. And instead of it being Rock This Country, it was Get Smart Training. And that was our parody. And it was our very own director of partnerships, Lorinda, who did the singing, and our director of operations, Will, on guitar, and then our whole team
Ah.
doing the line dancing.
It was absolutely fantastic. So hats off to you. Some of the best marketing I think I've seen, maybe the best in this industry, which is not known particularly for smart marketing,
Well,
although it's getting better. I'm starting to
it
see
is getting
the
better.
tide
Yeah,
turn.
it's fun.
Yeah, you're leading the way. Okay, Susan. Well, okay. First off, why don't you just tell us, like, give us a little bit of an introduction to you briefly, because we'll get into your story. Like the
Sure.
name, we obviously know that, and the company.
Sure. I'm Susan Brattberg. I'm co-founder and chief customer officer at Global eTraining. And we've been doing this for a long time. It makes me feel old every time that someone asks me to do my introduction, because we had our 17th birthday just recently at Autodesk University. So that was actually our birthday party that you attended.
Oh, thank you. Great way
Yeah.
to be to find.
We
Yeah, to
did
be.
have birthday cupcakes. So I don't know if maybe you missed those.
Nah, I didn't see
That's
them.
okay.
Shame.
Okay.
And can you just tell us really briefly what Global e-training does, like what it is, what it does?
Thank you. Yes. So we do online on-demand training. It comes preloaded with hundreds and hundreds of AEC and manufacturing industry-related courses. So technology training. We're large Autodesk partners, so it's preloaded with all the Autodesk courses. But that being said, we've got all the tools that you'd have in your tool belt for the AEC industry. We've got that ready-made. We keep it up to date, but we also have the technology for companies to develop rapidly their own company and project specific workflow training for your best practices, your onboarding, your, SOPs, whatever it may be, is the fastest way to build interactive training, track it, deploy it, and keep it up to date in all versions. So
Mm.
we're making training fun and exciting and really effective, so people can learn and apply skills instantly.
Very cool. And I think that the story stems from you actually having to physically close a campus, or was it a school or campus which you had been around for like 35 years or something?
Well, that's even longer. So globally
Wow.
training
Okay,
started
we'll get to that.
17 years ago. Yeah, but our
We'll get to that.
campus goes back even longer. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, nice, nice, nice. Just let's keep everyone on the hook. So, all
Okay.
right, tell us a little bit more then, Susan. So, you obviously the industry is changing. There's like tons of software and solutions which are coming out, and there's probably like a ton more that you have to train people on very quickly
Yeah.
when they are released. So, um, when you're talking to people who need this training, do you know what the impact on their company is when they are, if they're not keeping up to speed, and their team don't have the digital skills, they don't know how to use the tools?
hmm Yeah, great question. It's compounding and becoming more of a crisis. So they're actually coining it the digital skills gap crisis. And I say they, Autodesk came out with a report, the 2025 State of Design and Make report, and that's where they coined the term digital skills gap crisis. But it really and truly is the number one priority for CIOs across all industries globally is this digital skills gap crisis and upskilling. So what's happening is technology is changing at its fastest pace that it's ever changed. And so what before you could, train people every couple years and, you could kind of keep up with it. And those days are gone because things are changing so quickly. There's new technology all the time, and then the technology is changing quickly. The workflows and processes are changing. And then project teams have to deploy more quickly as well. You just start a project and then you finish the project, you go on to the next. So you need to have the up-to-date information because every project's going to have a different workflow and different tech tools that are being used. So it's a brand new way of working. And then obviously, training and change management comes into that. So what is the impact for these companies if they know what they're doing versus if they don't? Our customers just say, wow, our project runs so much more smoothly people know what they're doing. And it is not rocket science. It's so simple. But when you actually calculate the ROI, our customers are getting ROIs. I'm not even exaggerating, 10,000% return on investment because when their people know what they're doing, their project's more efficient. They're more profitable. There's less rework. They're more competitive to win more bids. They're also attracting and retaining top talent. And especially when it's, not even a digital skills gap crisis, there's also a talent shortage right now. All of that adds up and it's really impactful.
So tell us more about like how, perhaps how, and I think that when we spoke before, you mentioned like this model of sending them to the classroom has like slightly changed. I do remember in my early days in my career in construction, you could spend like 2 days learning how to use like a scheduling software or something. Is that still
Yeah.
the case, or is there this requirement and
Yes.
need now, yeah, for people to like have instant access to the training data?
Well, I think it still exists, but we're looking at elevating it. Like I'm a very social person. I love anything that you can do in real time. Like right now we're synchronous right now. There's asynchronous and synchronous. Asynchronous is on demand and then synchronous is at the same time and place. So you can be synchronous um, virtually or live in a classroom. And that's so valuable for mentorship and relationship building. And so what we're looking to do is how do you elevate those synchronous moments? Whether if it's in a classroom, maybe you don't need to sit in a classroom for a week or 2 days, like you said, in the old way. You can learn it on demand, and people don't want to wait. This is a generation, people want instant, right? So let's give them instant. Let's let them learn. Let's let them apply. But then if you're going to, bring people together in a virtual or live environment, let's elevate that, make it more of a mentorship or, project specific examples, but to really be focusing on those important relationships.
Mm, And by that, do you mean like what people doing things virtually, like you're making it more of an experience through like the engagement and interactivity of the training? And the reason I ask is because we hear this a lot of Bricks and Bytes, like technology is one problem, but actual implementation and you getting people to use technology is another. And I can guess that you experience something similar when you're people buy these like trainings from you, and then it's like, okay.
Well, the way that we get drive adoption is we make it specific. So, whatever it may be, Revit, we've trained, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of people in Revit. You can learn Revit out of the box, or you can learn, or whatever it may be. Right now, we're doing a lot of ACC rollouts with companies. Um, you can learn it out of the box, or you can learn it in the specific way for that company, for that project. And that's what's going to drive adoption. So we've got all sorts of tools to really narrow down what you need to know exactly when you need to know it so you can learn and apply skills immediately. And even if you have prior knowledge, say, well, I've used it on my last project, we have ability to do, a little bit of a challenge, and then it creates a custom learning path for you just on the areas that you need to upskill on.
Okay, specificity, nice.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, we'll get into that, but to take us back to the initial mention I said
Yeah.
about the digital school in Edmonton. So this was a global e-training was like I don't know if you would call it a spin-off, but it was at one point out in you were teaching inside of a digital school in Edmonton, Canada, where you are, and that was around
Yeah.
for 35 years. COVID hit, and you decided to shut the campus and move
Mhm.
completely online. So when you were making that decision, how did that feel? Scary?
I didn't even have time to be scared because, well, the world was just changing before our eyes. Obviously, COVID was happening, but I was also delivering a baby, so that was going on.
At the time of
I
making
went
the decision?
Yes, like, I went in the hospital before the COVID lockdown, and it came out in lockdown. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, where are the people? Where are the cars?"
Oh, jeez.
So that happened while I was in the hospital delivering a baby, and then the hospital didn't even go up from that. So that's a different story. Um, there was not time to really be worried because I'm like, "I gotta get this baby out."
Yeah, well,
So
there's nothing else happening in the world at that time, that's for sure.
yeah. So a lot going on. Anyway, we didn't make the decision at that time to close down and never reopen. Like, and we were forced to close. Like, the government said no one can go to school,
Mm,
so we closed just like every other business did. But what we were really fortunate that we had we were already online. So what we've been doing for since globally training started is blended learning, and we still do blended learning, and that's that elevating that synchronous experience with online, asynchronous. And so it was very easy for us to just take that live classroom portion and put in a virtual classroom portion. So it was a really easy transition. And then we made the decision at least a year after. We said, okay, we're allowed to open up again. Should we? And we said, why would we open up again? Nobody wants to go back to school. So anyway,
mm,
so the college and digital school, actually the first ATC, that's an Autodesk Authorized Training Center in Canada. It was formerly the Alberta School of Drafting, and then changed its name to Digital School. So we've seen this industry shift. So like when it was Alberta School of Drafting, it was classroom. We had drafting tables. It was a renowned college. Then it shifted, from drafting to CAD. And then we led that change. Then we shifted from CAD to BIM. We led that change. And that's when Globally Training launched out of Digital School. We put our courses online, and then people were saying, we said, let's recoup some of this investment. And we started selling to other education institutions and to companies for their corporate training programs. And that's when Globally Training took off. So it is a
mm.
spinoff of an education institution, but that we don't actually know how old digital school is, but it's over 40 years old. It started before our time, and we've so
Do you know roughly, like, what the difference in, like, reach is between just having you mentioned there's also virtual and like on premises learning with even with the physical school, but did you notice like a significant change in the amount of people you were able to reach with your training by shifting mostly to digital?
yeah. So we have two different arms. Globally training has always been a global focus, and the way we're global is we work with many global firms. So globally training, we've got learners in over 150 countries, so truly global. Digital school has always been focused on Canada. So we're a college in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We were forever. I don't live in Edmonton, but it's often one of the coldest places on earth. It's beautiful in the summer. Don't go in the winter. Just advice to you.
Okay,
Um,
thanks.
and so that was one of the things is people wanted to take this renowned program at digital school. But they're like, and then they look up Edmonton. They're like, oh, I don't want to go to Edmonton. It's cold there. um, and so online was where it's at. So that was, I would say if it wasn't so cold in Edmonton, I don't know if we have a business, the online business, because people wanted to take our courses. Um, and then so we said, well, let's put them online.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess it makes sense. Did you notice like have you noticed any like transition from people who are first like interested in training on the global e-training platform? I think when we spoke, you mentioned something like in the earliest days of global e-training, you'd talk to 100 people and maybe only two would see the value. Other 98 didn't really care.
Yeah.
But what like one, I guess we'll find out if that's flipped, but maybe two, just more to like an intrinsic question. That must have been tough early on. Like, how did you deal with that? Lots of people like asked, maybe not what we need right now, and to keep going.
That's a good question. I think it's grit. We talk about that a lot in our company, and I don't know. I keep saying we're from Alberta. Like we've got this mentality. My parents come from a farming background, so we always say, "Well, you make hay when the sun shines," and like it's this hard working background, and it's like we have it in our blood as founders of Globally Training, but it's in the nature of everyone that works for us. We say we're the smartest, hardest working, most fun team. So hardest working part comes out of that. Like we just don't give up. You just get it done. So I think that's just in the nature and the culture of Globally Training, but we don't I don't know. I don't really hear it's not a no, it's just I don't understand the values. I'm like, okay, you have to figure out a different way. Everyone says, wow, this is so cool. When we first started, people were just flabbergasted. You mean I can learn on the internet? Like, yeah. Like the concept was wild to them. So it wasn't that they weren't interested, they just didn't understand it. And like Autodesk even said when put all the course, we went to Autodesk, said, hey, we're going to put courses online. Can we license some content from you? And they said, never in a million years are you ever going to learn our software online. So we had to make it. We did it all. And then here we are, we're their largest training partner. So
Mm.
um, online training partner. So it's just interesting it shifts. So I think we were just ahead of our time, to be honest. And then it wasn't such a necessity in those days because you could get away with training people every so often and putting them in a classroom for a week once a year or whatever it may be. That was a reasonable way to keep up with the pace of technological change. But now there's no option. Like that will not work in today's age. Is also a different generation of people in the workforce that they want everything instant. They don't want to sit in a classroom. you know, they want to be able to have everything on demand. So it's just the world has caught up to us, I think.
How do you deal with when Autodesk tell you like that people wouldn't learn online? Like you either I think people you have two types of people. People hear it and go, "Oh damn, like that sucks." Well, let's give up, not give up, but maybe we'll go down a different path. You, on the other hand, were like, "Okay, cool. We'll
And
see.
just do it.
We'll prove you wrong." Yeah, exactly. Like what was your when they said that to you, did you have a reaction that was almost like, okay, I'm glad you're saying this because now you've given me the drive to want to go and do that, or did you take it a different way?
Yeah, we're problem solvers. We're like, well, that path won't work. We'll try this other path. So I think there's a little bit of necessity built in there. What's the expression? They say necessity is the mother of invention.
Mm.
Um, and so that's what drives our innovation is like, well, we just launched a business. We got to make it a success. So we do it.
Hmm. Nice. Okay, maybe we can move on to a little bit about like how global e-training is today. So can you give us some idea on what are people training on? Like what's people interested in? Like, what are some of the trainings that you offer? What's the most popular? Let's dive into that.
Yeah, it
A lot
is
of
so
questions.
neat to
Sorry.
see. Yeah, it's a lot of questions. It's fun though. I have seen this industry change, and this again is makes me feel old to see the shifts. Um, but it's exciting to see people are embracing the new technology. They're not like I guess we said, and we did a big presentation actually at Autodesk University where we first met. But in our presentation, we showed a graph and they said, like, here's the rate of technological change and it's accelerating. And then here's the human capability and it's like going at a linear pace. So that's what's happening is the gap is widening. So imagine this
Mhm.
graph, the widening gap.
Yep.
And we said, so what do you want to do? Do you want to slow the rate of technological change or do you want to increase the rate of human capability? And I said, well, maybe just slow the rate of technological change like ever so slightly, but like we need to keep up. And so people are saying, how do we keep up? So this is what we're here to do. And so they're embracing technology. So we need all the new technology. That's exciting. Is we're helping train on all the new things and keeping them up to date. Um, and then what is really neat is the custom workflows. And so our customers, we have AI in our tools now. So since we launched AI, it's amazing to see we've just untapped this market. We've unlocked it. Our customers are building their own custom workflows. So they're leveraging our content, but they're not just doing the out of the box. They're saying, let's make it company specific, workflow specific, project specific, discipline specific. And we have the capabilities. You can do that level of granular customization. Um, and the sky's the limit on what they're building. So I'm just like, we've unlocked it. And so our customers have built more custom training in the last year than in the last 10 years combined. So, and we're just like letting them fly and supporting them to do it. But they are the experts in that you need, the customer and project specific workflows. So the workflow piece is the new piece for us, and it's exciting.
And so these are like custom part, like, okay, so someone works for a company and they think like, I have 20 project managers to train. I'm going to create like a custom path, so to speak, or
Hmm.
track
Yep.
that suits their, and then they're able to use AI to pass through all the trainings that you have to come up with like a custom track, which then those project managers could follow.
Exactly, but they're adding their own custom content as well. So it's the 80/20 rule. We'll provide 80% of what they need. We have all the picks and clicks, tech tools, everything, all the tech in their tech stack we have. Also, like, more industry concepts, what is BIM? Like, a lot of companies still are saying, okay, we got to get on board with this quick, so we're still doing the, get on board with BIM. So what is BIM and all your ISO 19650 and even like leadership and management and project management training is, even Microsoft training is huge. So we've got all the out of the box stuff, but then they're dragging and dropping the relevant content that they need. But then what's making it really sticky is they're adding their own company specific onboarding workflows, best practices, um, standard operating procedures, that is unique to that company and that project. And they're easy to like literally drag and drop that information into the
Mm,
platform.
that's
And
very cool.
uh, and AI will like do a lot of it for them. They're still the expert. They can override AI. But it takes on a lot of the heavy lifting for them.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. That's very cool. Okay,
Mhm.
so training now slash tech company.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
that's exactly it. We have shifted from a training company, and then we said, "Well, we're an edutech company." We're actually we're a patented software. We're a software company. We have a patented
Woo.
software, which is called the Generator, and that's our course authoring tool. And so we're the only company in the world that can have this auto sync and version control. So if you update a parent course, it will update all versions of all child courses, which is how you can get so granular.
Mhm,
Any other platform out there, you would have to update it. Like, if you have
mhm,
five
mhm,
learning paths, you'd have to update your course 5 times over, which is why no one ever gets custom. But now they can get really granular and custom. We also have the ability to host our content and custom content across learning management systems. And that's something that happened after COVID. Every company really invested in online. So that changed it. People before COVID were like, oh, I don't know if online's really a big deal. Post COVID, everybody's embraced, like, that just changed the world. Everyone's fine. Online is fine. They all said, well, let's do online learning. And they're trying to figure out how to do it. But they all have, every company now, if you have more than a few hundred employees, will have a learning management system.
mhm,
So we're able to have our training hosted on their own corporate learning management system.
mhm. I have
Anyway,
so many
we can get into the
questions.
tech later, but it is a cool patented technology.
Mm,
Hey listeners, I want to take a quick break to remind you about the Bricks and Bytes newsletter. If you're interested in learning about the technology shaping the future of construction, you won't want to miss the valuable insights we share each week. To get this exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox, head over to www.bricks-bytes.com and sign up today. Link is in the show notes. Back to the show.
what uh, what are the most popular courses? Does this question make sense? Do you have access to that data? Like, maybe it's
Yeah.
more
Well, it
qualitative.
depends on the company and the industry, right? It's going to be different for an architecture company versus engineering versus manufacturing. And then even in the company, depending on what your job is, you're going to take different courses. But just in general, like, I would say Revit was our most popular course for a decade. just helping with that shift from CAD to BIM. Industry is catching up now, and now they're saying, okay, now we have the tools. What's the next level? Which is really neat, where we're getting into the workflows. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think Revit is probably still the number one course, to be honest.
Mm.
But we're seeing a lot of movement. As I talk about Autodesk, we have ACC, but then companies say, well, we use Procore, so we've got Procore. It's like, what is the tool that you have in your toolbox? And we've got training on it.
What tools do people prefer more, Autodesk or Procore? You don't have to
Oof.
answer that.
I
I'm
started it,
teasing.
I know. And I want to be agnostic. We say we're true BIM, and use the right tool for the job. Um, so I don't personally have a preference. My preference is to say what are the tools you're using on the job? We want to make sure people are up to speed on it and
Mhm.
using them in the right way. So I'm gonna take the PC choice and say it's your choice.
Fair enough. Let the
Yeah.
people decide.
Yeah.
Uh, is there aside from the courses, is there a particular skill, maybe outside of AI, that people are trying to train up? Because that's the obvious answer right now.
Well, that's a big one. We actually have training on AI. Like that's actually pretty popular. We have a whole library of AI courses and AI for AEC even. Um, yeah. And the number people have asked us, they said, do you think AI is going to take over? People won't need to be trained because of AI. And it's the absolute opposite. The number one way to drive even adoption of AI is it's training.
Mm. What about like is that the most popular skill though that people want to learn right now?
It's definitely up there. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. I'd say it's probably in the top 5 requests and courses that people are looking at taking.
Mm. Okay. Is there like a strange thing that people like to learn through the training, something that's kind of peculiar? I don't even know if this is a appropriate question to ask, but I'll ask it now.
Well,
Like,
we
for
have
example, maybe I can help why I ask this question is because, like, for example, everyone thinks that we should be like BIM adopted. Yeah, I'm like, with
mm,
2025 now, BIM come out. Where I hear different numbers of time, 60, 70 days. Somewhere in the last 70 years, BIM existed in the industry. Um, but are people still like, is there still like a heavy demand for people to train on that?
there is, and you'd be surprised. So it's this technology adoption curve, right? And so when we first started, we were working only with the innovators. That's why it felt like we talked to 100 people, only 2% were interested. It was because we were talking to innovators, and there's the early adopters and the early majority, late majority laggards. So we're in the wave right now, which is why we're feeling really busy right now, which is a good problem to have. But we're in the wave. But that means some people have like adopted BIM and they're like, they're the leading edge. There's still others like that, and we know who they are because they say we'll do BIM, and then they say it, they win a project, and they're like, oh my god, we won a project, and we have to figure out how to do it, and they call us. So there's a lot of companies that are in they're not laggards, but they're
Mm,
just the late majority, and they're still getting up to speed. And it depends on the company. It depends on where they are. You say like we are global, so it's interesting to see the pockets. I say, well, the U.S. is super innovative. It Some of the U.S. is super innovative and some is not, just like Canada. Some is super innovative and some is not, but we're getting everybody across that threshold. And
Okay.
there's laggards out there too, but they're just going to retire, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, everyone knows them, right?
yeah,
If it
and
ain't
that's
broke,
okay.
don't fix it kind of mentality. Well, we've done
Yeah,
it this way for years and it exists as part of the industry. Okay, I really like this piece on the training, but I also like to jump into some of the growth and how you've grown a business over
sure,
the years. But maybe we'll get back to the training piece. I do have some more questions on that, but conscious of
sure.
time. So you built this business like no external funding, all out of your own pocket, as far as I'm aware.
That's right.
Very good.
Yeah.
What were some of the key kind of growth levers and inflection points in your journey where like where it really pushed you to like I don't want to use the word exponential, but maybe like um unbalanced, I don't know if that's the right word
Oh,
either,
for
but unfair kind of growth a result?
yeah. Um, there's been a lot. Yeah, and we kind of you can see in our growth how our company switched, from being like a training company to an edutech company to a tech company. And yeah, and then even like you can even just see the difference like since AI. It's totally shifted our company. Um, so I'd say that those are like the difference of the industry and the difference of technology has been our different inflection points. And then obviously, um, the big shift for us was like kind of you can see the pre and post COVID world. The whole world shifted, and really, no one wants to go back to those days, but it did prove a concept of online works. The whole world went online, and they still got stuff done. So we didn't have the conversation being like, "Oh, I don't know, people can learn online." That's not even a conversation anymore. So I'd say that
Mm,
was a big shift for our business.
hmm Um, how can you give us some indication on like how the growth is? Like, uh, could you tell us perhaps 5 years ago versus what it is today, and maybe numbers of people that are being trained through the platform, that kind of thing? Share obviously what you're comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, we're in a growth trajectory now. So we kind of, it was so, again, I keep going back to this, but you would see in global e-training at those days, the people that had access, our adoption was just off the charts. Our adoption of trials, we never had so many people sign up for free trials of training ever. But the problem with those days is every budget was totally frozen. So they no one had money to buy training. um, and then when eventually that all got unlocked, then we started seeing some pretty big, growth trajectories, not just of adoption of using the courses, but actually like new customers signing up and paying for courses, not just trials. So that I'd say kind of was the shift into the growth trajectory that we're seeing right now. And then it just went up another notch with AI. So right now we're on like a hyper growth curve, if you will. So it's a lot to keep up with. I did
Yeah.
some, uh, yeah, like we did our big, AU thing with our party and all the things. We were a big sponsor. We signed up. I think we booked like 500 meetings. So our team is just like back to back to back to back meetings, signing up new customers, and we're signing up at least one new customer we're onboarding every day. Which is it's fun, but that means our team's growing too. So growing pains,
Mm.
which are good problems to have.
How do you deal with this like
And when I say customer, we're talking B2B. So we talk like our major focus. We sell to companies. We have a B2C arm. Um, and anybody can go sign up, but we mostly sell to companies to roll out for the whole team.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
clarifying. How do you
Yeah.
manage the growth then? So, I think this is like a problem I've been speaking to a few people about recently, and I think, like you say, it's a really nice problem to have, but it can also be a major problem if not dealt with in the right way. So, how
Yeah.
do you
I
manage
see
it? How
people.
do you keep yourself sane and also like ensuring that the company is resourced effectively to grow?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and I think any business owner will agree. Like, it's not easy. It takes a lot of effort. We've got an amazing team, so I'm really lucky with my co-founders. I don't think I shared this. We talked about it before, but not in this session. My co-founders is my sister and my brother-in-law, so it's a
Mhm,
family
mhm,
business. So we're able to we're a perfect team um, with our different skill sets.
mhm,
So I take on, the customer side. I'm chief customer officer, so I'm doing a lot of customer facing things and marketing. Um, and I love it. I love meeting with customers and hearing their ideas and hearing their problems. We partner with our customers, and that's really what leads our innovation. So I think I have the best job of us. And then my sister is on the your strategy, finance, business modeling side. So she's like CSO. Um, and then my brother-in-law is our CTO. So between us, we make a nice team, and then we have amazing leadership that has been with us a long time. So they're growing with us. They know the culture, they know the company, they know the ins and outs. Um, and so because we've got that good foundation, it helps with the growth. And then we're lucky. You know what we did? We have a amazing onboarding program. So we're able to bring new people on really quickly because we're using our own tools to
Ah,
upskill our own people.
makes sense.
Didn't do that at first. And we said, you know what? We're kind of the plumbers with the leaky pipes. We need to fix that. And
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
does. So we can get new team members up to speed pretty quickly. And then what works really well is we do like a partnering approach. So like we brought on some new team members just to be able to in August to help us at AU in September. They're fully self-sufficient now, but it works because we partnered them up with an experienced person. And then now they're the experienced people to bring on new people. So this partnering approach works really well for us. So we've figured out different things over the years that works for us. But we're still learning every day.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I noticed you didn't mention CEO.
No, so we're kind of like we're the three of us are basically are the CEO. We're board. And yeah, we all have our
Yeah.
different strengths.
Okay, interesting. So are all decisions like a freeway kind of agreement between you?
Yeah. Big decisions are easy peasy. We can make them in like 10 minutes. We are so aligned. Little decisions, we can fight like,
Mm,
and so that's where we just say, stay in your own lane, because it's not worth fighting over like little tiny things that aren't even important.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's super interesting.
Yeah, it is.
How big is the team?
We have well, and that's a good question. So we have about 100 people, 50 full-time employees, and then about 50 contractors about. So we'll say 100, give or take, and growing. And then the contractors are because we've got our subject matter experts on contract. And yeah, anyone outside Canada is on a contract. Anyone inside Canada is on a
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
employment contract.
Oh, okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's how's this team like? What's the composition as to like? I guess just roughly how much people are working on the developing the product that you're now building versus selling versus like facilitating courses. Just a rough composition.
Yeah. I think it's about 50-50. 50% customer facing sales, marketing, customer success, and onboarding support, and then 50% operations, and that would be either course development or technology development.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Tell us about your go-to-market strategy then. Like, what's your most successful sales channel?
Time of people. This is such a busy, busy, busy industry. To get on someone's calendar um, is tricky, and we have to respect that they're really busy. And yeah, so we figured out some of the best ways to do that and respect people's time. Um, but
Mm,
I'd say that's the trickiest thing in this
tell us more.
industry.
How do you do it? I remember when we spoke last time, you said you were doing like full day meetings starting at 5 a.m. You must have some
Yeah,
secret
we
way to get
well,
onto people's calendars.
we always book the next meeting. Always. That's my trick. Because if you no, it's an efficiency thing. Nobody wants to email back and forth 100 times to coordinate calendars. So just book it. If you need to shuffle it, that's okay. So that's our tip. We always are in the calendar, and then we're really respectful of people's time once we're in the calendar. Um, but getting in the calendar is can be tricky. They say, "I know we need this, but I don't have time to implement this." So that's where we can be really efficient with onboarding, and we become an extension of the team of our customers, and so we actually do a lot of the onboarding for them. So once we are with the customer, um, then we are saving them time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so you mentioned great channel is just talking to your customers. I can also guess that another successful channel for you are event. And you
Yes,
also just mentioned that
exactly.
you had maybe made like 500 meetings out of the
Well,
Autodesk
that's what we
University.
focus on
What's the
there. So
trick?
we did. The
Apart
trick
from
at
making great
events,
songs.
well, we do all the things to get noticed. We use events as a meeting place. So we actually book meetings. We do meetings at the event because they actually have time. Then we have more time to meet at the event than they do once they go back and they're running these huge busy projects. Um, so events are not just awareness for us. Events are very, very strategic. So we're meeting with customers. We're meeting with potential customers. We've started doing like customer only sessions at the event. So like gatherings where they can come and we show them new releases and they can ask questions. And it's so fun for me because then I don't actually have to do anything. They just do all the talking and then they share best practices amongst each other. So that's pretty fun. So we use events, we meet with customers, we meet with potential customers, and then we book meetings. That's the number one thing.
And how about like the choice of like the color? That's so stupid, but it's so effective
Agree.
because all I can
Yeah, I know
see
I do it.
when I
See the
think of
earrings?
you, there you go. It's everywhere. It's like subconscious,
Uh-huh.
subliminal kind of marketing. It's very smart. Honestly, all I think of when I think of global training is the color green. It's highly effective. Did how much thinking went behind that, or did you just think that green was a cool color and this is
No. Okay, I just see
go for it?
I don't even like the color green, and you'd never catch me wearing it ever in my personal life. I put it, um, I don't, but I had a dream. So it sounds kind of funny, um, eh, but it's true. I had a dream of a sea of green, and it was one of those moments, like a few of those moments of my life where I have a dream and it came true. And I told our graphic designer, we need to be green. And he tried so hard to convince me not to do it. I'm like, it is such a powerful dream that I have. I have to do it. So he had this dream of a sea of green. And so we got these lime green t-shirts. And this was when we did our big launch at AU. We said, how are we going to show off our virtual product, So then in my dream as well, I woke up and I'm like, we need a sponsor. So it was HP at the time. Our sponsor now is Dell. Anyway, we've always had a sponsor, but I messaged HP and I said, could you sponsor us? So they did. Because the first time we went to these events, it was a weird concept. People couldn't try it. So we got them to give us like 20 workstations for our big event so people could go on and try the training and like get their hands on it. And that was our theme, was get your hands on it, because we have globally training with the GET. So I don't
Hmm.
know, see there's my shirt here. But anyway, this was glam green shirts and we had big handprints that said get your hands on it. And we ordered like 2,000 shirts or something like that in lime green. But the deal was you could come try, get your hands on it, but you had to put the shirt on. So when I walked in, my dream had come true. It was a sea of green. We had like 2,000 people walking around wearing our lime green shirts. And then we're stuck with it. Then that happened. And now we can't go anywhere without going green. So that's the story.
Wow, that's a really cool story. Yeah. Wow, you're trying to make me think of whether I've had a dream in my life where then I've implemented what happened in the dream and it has become a reality. I don't know, maybe more than what you actually think. I've never really thought to think through it before. Although one thing I would say, maybe we'll get to this point in a minute, is I'm a parent of young kids, and I know you
Yeah.
also have your family as well, fairly young kids. I think you mentioned like during
Yeah.
COVID, so you're at least 4 years
Yeah.
old,
Three
around
and
about that,
five, Yeah.
3.5. And just recently, so we went through this period of like devastating nights where it's like up every like 2 3 hours or whatever. But the
Mhm.
last few weeks have actually been like relatively okay. And I started to dream again. And it's so weird. Like I wake up and I'm like either stressed out because I've dreamed. I'm like, whoa, what,
Yeah.
like I'm glad that wasn't real. Or why do I keep having this vivid dream of going to this certain place which does never exist on Earth, but it's so like real in my head? Maybe I should go
Yeah,
and
it's neat when that happens. It's only happened twice for work. It's happened in personal life a few times, but twice for work. One was with the sea of green. These like thousands of people wearing the green t-shirts. And then the next one was just recently with that dancing, and everyone, my whole team thought I was crazy. And I had a dream about like 1,000 tech nerds, like engineers um, whatever, at Autodesk University. So architects, engineers, like, bin managers, um, dancing. And everyone's like, there's no way you're going to get all these people up dancing. I'm like, you trust me, I'm going
Huh.
to get them dancing. And my team thought I was crazy, but they humored me, which is so nice. We did this song, we have a choreographed dance. And then it happened again when I looked and I saw we had about 1,000 people doing the Get Song and Dance, and they were actually doing it. Like, wow, that was my dream come true. But it gave me a bit of I guess, comfort to see, okay, these are people way out of their comfort zone, out there dancing, which is so fun to see. Like this is the nicest industry. But if they can go out of their comfort zone to do singing and dancing at a tech event, um, they're fine. Like they're willing to go out of their comfort zone. And like that, those are the leaders leading this industry to change. And like we're in good hands. Like,
I
just
love
kind of
it.
shows you the type of people in this industry.
Do you know that it's also one thing I love? Like, one, fundamentally, everyone is human, right? Like, no matter what job title you have, there is like this
Mhm.
major human element. And I really don't think you see that until you meet people at these kind of events.
Yeah.
And like, because a lot of the business world now is done online, and you meet someone, it's a very formal meeting when you're meeting people online, like very transactional. But when you meet them in
Mhm.
person, you have a good chat. They're almost like your buddies. Like, it's a totally different
Yeah.
experience. And I noticed that when I was at Autodesk University, and I even know some of the people who were doing the line dancing, and I was watching them and thinking like, yeah, you wouldn't be the kind of person that I would think that would go off and be doing that thing. So
And I
yes,
I I admire that so much that they're willing to do that.
very cool. How do you manage your position and high growth business with a young family? Any magic formulas or tricks or hacks or operating systems that you've
Oh my gosh.
implemented?
I have huge respect for all working parents. Oh my gosh. It's a lot. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I didn't fully appreciate it until I am a working parent. So yeah, kudos to everyone out there just making it work. But
Any
I think you can't take yourself as seriously maybe because you're just that much more busy. You just get it done I thought I was efficient before kids and then that dialed up a notch.
Mm, mm. You're probably a little bit more, you mull less over your decisions, maybe because you're just like,
Yeah.
I need to make a decision because I don't have time to think
You got to
about
get it
this,
done. Yeah.
and you got
Got
to
to
get it
get the
done.
kids picked up. Got to get them to bed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Did it change like your motivation in any way? Like for growing the business? Like obviously, I would get. I know not in a negative way, but did it change like the purpose and the mission of global e-training in any way?
I think so. It changed our strategy. So when I mentioned like my co-founder is my sister and brother-in-law. My husband actually joined the company as well. And so we all have these little children, so we're a real team. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very cute. So I have 3 and 5-year-old, and then my niece and nephew are also 3 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so their cousins are growing up, and we live in the beautiful Rocky Mountains. I think now the sun's coming up. You can see the mountain behind
Making me
me.
jealous.
Um,
It's
yeah, it was
beautiful.
black to start with, but now, so they're growing up with this amazing lifestyle in the mountains with their cousins. But it takes a village, especially we were having kids during COVID and we didn't have childcare. We're running a business. So we've created this little village that we can like run a business and also run families. So right now, my sister and my mom are taking care of my kids. Um, so it's a whole village and it's really beautiful. But obviously family comes first, but we're able to, because we run a family business, we're able to put that same love and
Mm.
attention into the business.
Yeah, I think it works. I actually think it works better, and I think why? Because you're working more as a system. Like you're not in some fragmented thing where one of you has one job, and like different expectations and wants and needs, and one of you has another thing. You're all like working together, and you're all managing the family together, and you're all doing the stuff outside of the work together. So like you're operating as
Mhm.
one. And
Mhm.
yeah, I was thinking about this last night when I was thinking about you and preparing for this discussion, and I actually was like, I can see why that would work better, and why I think that is a
Yeah.
better way of operating. Yeah. What other maybe last 5, 10 minutes or so? If
Sure.
people want to train, what are what are the options for them that exist outside of global e-training? I just want to try and understand like the competitive landscape or like the market landscape and where you fit into that.
Yeah. One thing that gives me comfort is that people in this industry are smart and they're going to figure out a way to learn somehow. They have to. There's no option. Um, so that's reassuring. They're fine with or without me. Kind of takes the pressure off. Um, I think about people in careers where, all the pressure's on them, like they're like in, you know, first responders, for example. Like, not for me, too much pressure. Um, if people don't learn from global e-training, they're going to learn somewhere else. And the world would be just fine. So if they want to learn in the most efficient way, then that's where we can really help people learn faster, retain more, save time. That's our motto. So, there's lots of options out there. You could just, figure it out. You can sit down in a classroom. You can have a mentor sit down and work with you. You can go to YouTube. You can, there's other online providers out there too. The difference, so there's options people are going to figure out. I'd say where we really stand apart is that a really custom training to learn and apply skills immediately and for companies to deploy exactly what people need to know, and then they track it and they make sure people um, are efficient in the projects and give them the tools that they're asking for. When you survey a company right now and you ask people what is the number one thing that's going to make you satisfied in their job, and you take compensation out of it, so company A, company B for satisfaction, um, training's the number one thing. So if simpler compensation for company A, if they invest in your professional development, company B, if they don't, they're going to choose company A. Even often if it's less compensation, but their professional development is invested in, they will still
Mm.
choose that company. So that's where we help. We help companies, we help people, and it's really rewarding. But they're going to figure out a way, one way or another. We just help them do it more
Mm.
efficiently.
Where does the future bring you? Where does like how is the training e-learning landscape evolving in the next few years?
It's changing quickly, and AI is just flipping all industries around. So we're leading in AI, and I think it's really helped us be, an industry leader and in the whole edutech space, e-learning space. But we're really focused in this architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing space, which sets us apart because when you get to that niche level, the options get fewer because it's so there's a lot of e-learning companies out there that have generic training, but they don't have this specific training for our industry. So that's where we really stand apart. And a lot of companies that started coming down this path have actually dropped out of the game. It's too niche for them.
Interesting.
So we're kind of the last man standing.
Oh, it feels like you've got like a good strong foothold on the industry generally.
We're still around. Um, but it's good for us. We're really targeted. This is the industry, architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing. It's a massive industry. It's an exciting industry, and we're excited to focus on that.
Okay, cool. Two last questions. As a
Yeah.
customer, paying customer of both of various construction events in the globe, what is your favorite event, and which one is the
Mhm.
most bang for your buck?
Ooh, it's tricky. We're constantly analyzing that. What is it better to go to a huge event with lots of people, or a smaller event, that's like, more quality conversations rather than, 2,000 people swirling around at all times. My favorite is the smaller, more intimate events personally, so like under 100 or 200 people where you can actually have quality conversations and build relationships. That's my personal favorite. But for us as a company, we pick a few big events and we do them big and we do them well. Like Autodesk University has been our flagship event since our start. We launched at Autodesk University, which is why we host our big birthday party there and our customer appreciation there every year. Um, so I'd have to say that one because it's the one we put, most of our effort in. And then we probably do an event. We average about one a month. Um, and our favorites are the little ones.
Very cool. Okay, do you have a health and fitness and like mindfulness routine?
I did. I did.
And kids came along.
Oh, and I still tap into it. So I'm actually a yoga teacher.
Okay.
Um, and I'm so happy to have that background and the training, because I have it anywhere I go all the time. If I have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, if I'm in a hotel room, I can do my breath work. I can do a little bit of yoga and it keeps me grounded. So I would say that's my go-to. I
Hmm.
used to be super consistent yoga every single day. Now I do my Sunday morning yoga and it is like um my my 1 hour of bliss in the whole week. So it's a different lifestyle now, but I do have it and I do tap into it every day.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny how you like, yeah, things get kind of disrupted and priorities
Yeah.
change. You know.
It's totally well, and my fitness routine is chasing children, and they're
Yeah,
getting bigger, and they're getting faster. So there you go. You gotta stay fit to keep up.
here's a story on that for you.
Okay.
So yeah, like okay, my job is like mostly sedentary. I sit at a desk most of my day. I'm like 80%.
Mhm.
Maybe one day a week I'm out and about. Maybe 2 days out and about, like meeting people, whatever. But it's like majority is sedentary. So um, when last year I went on holiday, all inclusive with like family, my partner and our kids, and one of our kids had just started walking, so he's like
Okay.
one, just turned, was like one and a bit, and now he's like three. And
Okay.
bear in mind, this is like all inclusive in the sun, like everyone's sitting around on the beach, sipping cocktails, having a great time. Well,
Yeah.
no, there was me chasing my son around for like the whole holiday, and
Yeah.
with that, I looked at my average step count over the duration of the week, and the average was like 13,500 steps every day.
Hi. Yeah.
And when I'm
Chasing
at the
kids.
desk, it's like 5,000. So to your point of getting exercise in, yeah, I was so happy to be back on my desk the following week and like, oh, it's a rest. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Well, and then I love our little mountain town. So it's all walkable. So we walk, I do we walk and drop off to kindergarten and daycare. I get my dog out, I get myself out, get my kids out. So that, that really helps. And we
Sunlight.
walk in this beautiful postcard in the Rocky Mountains. So life is
I'm
good.
not, I'm not going to ask you anymore. And that we had the boring skyline of London to look at,
Oh,
and
well, that's fun.
Yeah, not quite mountains, artificial mountains. Cool. All right, Susan, thank you so much. Yeah, tell us like what you're plugging right now, what you're trying to push. Yeah, anything you want to kind of bring up here.
Well, I think, if I said our focus is companies, so architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing companies. We also work with governments and education institutions, so any like large organizations, um, and individuals. So if you want to just do upskilling for yourself, that's anyone in this AEC and manufacturing industry. We help people learn faster and apply skills better, to real projects. So if you need upskilling, definitely give us a call. And I'm very confident that we can help you do it in the most efficient way. So our website is www.globaletraining.ca, and the CA stands for Canada. So globaletraining.ca. You find out more information on it, but you can also book a demo with one of our e-training experts and learn more.
Very cool. Susan, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thanks. Thank you.